Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 0 of this Intro to C++ series, a series focused on teaching C++ through the context of video games. My name is Pharaoh, this is Normalish Software, and what we're going to be doing over the course of the next few weeks, months, years, who knows, I don't know, is we're going to be learning C++ through the context of video games. And what I mean by that is C++ is a very large language. C++ is in dozens and dozens of fields. But we're going to be focusing on how to write C++ specifically for games. Now, I've been doing this for quite a while now, maybe about, 4 years at this point. Just recently, I started an Unreal Engine C++ training series, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. That's not going to be at the same level. This training series here is going to be a lot simpler and a lot easier to go into. All right. Who is this for? This is for first-time programmers. So this is for if you fall in this category. You might be somebody who's just getting into game development, who has never written a program in their life, and is the absolute beginner. What this series is also for is this is also for game developers coming from other engines or in other languages. So C#, Java, Python, if you've used those languages, C++ is going to be quite different. Especially the way the language has been built, and we'll go over that and why that is and how everything works. Why C++? Well, one, portability. C++ code can run on a large variety of different hardware. So C++ runs natively on just about everything. You can put C++ on a calculator, you can put it on a game console, a PC, basically anything, right? And we also have the ability to solve problems in multiple different ways. C++ is a very flexible language. You can solve just any number of problems in any number of ways, which is a strength just as much as it is a weakness. Because there are so many different ways, there are, of course, going to be better ways than others to handle certain problems. And the last and probably most important part is that because of the first two, C++ has become the industry standard in game development. Most serious game code is written in C++. That includes anything that you would see on most console games are written in C++. Most PC games are written in C++ unless they're written with Unity. Unity uses C#, which is a very different language. Don't get the two confused because of the C there. And C++ is what powers Unreal Engine. But I can hear you already saying, I heard that C++ is a really hard language to learn, right? No. C++, like we mentioned before, is very flexible. So there's a lot of different ways of doing things. And in there, people have added in different complexities that don't necessarily need to be there. Since we'll be writing code in the context of gameplay code, things will look different from other learning materials that you'll find either online or at your school, for example. We won't be going over the content in exactly the same order as we would if we were going to do this from a very general perspective. A lot of courses, when they try to teach C++, they'll try to teach the language in such a way that you can take the knowledge that you've learned and go into many different fields. So somebody will take a C++ course and be able to apply it to games, to embedded development, to engine development to software or operating system, all of these things are completely different. And because of that, we're only going to focus on the gameplay code. Now, because of that, once again, we're going to take a look at things in a much different way. Other things to note, we'll be covering at most 2 concepts per video. So we're not going to be going too crazy. I'm expecting the videos to be 20 minutes at most in length, just to keep it digestible for most folks and to make it easier for me so I'm not recording for an hour and a half at a time. We will not be making the next PUBG. Games are very big in scope. Even the smallest game that you can think of is hundreds and thousands of lines of code spread across many different files, and that's not going to be the focus of this series. We're not going to be making, any real serious games. I might show off. I'm going to be showing off examples from games, from real games that people have actually played, that people have actually bought, from big studios, and use those games to focus on exactly what we're going to be doing. So what we'll be doing will be correlating to the gameplay footage that I'll be showing on the screen while we talk about it. And last but not least, this is a series that is going to be designed to give you the tools to go off on your own as a developer, and maybe you could be the next Player Unknown. You could be the next, I don't know, Ken Levine, John Blow, who knows, right? Now that the intro slides are over, what we're going to be doing is we're going to use Visual Studio as our program to help us write code. Visual Studio is going to have with it a text editor, so like Microsoft Word is a text editor, right? And it's also going to come with some other interesting and great tools for us to be able to fix bugs in our code, run the code, and do all kinds of different stuff with it. So head on over to visualstudio.com. I already have it right here. And we're going to go to Visual Studio IDE. Now, IDE is something that you'll hear a lot in the software development world, and that just stands for Integrated Development Environment. It's not really that important to know, but just know that Visual Studio is just one of many IDEs. So we're going to go in and download Visual Studio and click on Community 2017. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit to go ahead and download that, or to get the download started. I'm just going to save it to the desktop. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to actually click on this and install anything. But once you go ahead and get that downloaded, you can click on this. There will be 1 or 2 button prompts, and you'll be opened up to a screen that looks very similar to this right here. Now, you won't have all of these check marks, but that's okay. I do a lot of other development besides this stuff right here. So, what do we need from this screen? From this screen, we can scroll down, and all we really need is right here. It says Game Development with C++. So we go ahead and click on that, and here it includes Visual Studio C++ core features, the Windows Universal C runtime, the Visual C++ 27 redistributable update, and the VC++ 2017 V1v1 toolset. None of that's actually important for you to understand what that is or how it works yet. We'll be getting there later. And I also optionally have the C++ profiling tools, Windows SDK, Windows 10 SDK. I have 2 versions of that for some reason. I don't know why. But I'll just leave it for now. And if you are also planning on going into Unreal Engine development, you might as well download the installer now. And then you're also going to need one more one more thing. So come over to the individual components. I have the static analysis tools under the code tools. That's just to help with catching bugs before the code gets actually run. So that's very important for us. And something that you'll also need is the VC++ 2015 toolset. You're going to need that for Unreal Engine because they haven't upgraded internally to the 2017 stuff. I don't know how or why that works. Just make sure that you have that installed. And you're also going to need the Windows 8.1 SDK because once again, they haven't upgraded whatever their software tools are inside of the engine. They haven't upgraded fully to the Windows 10 SDK. So you're also going to need the Windows 8.1 SDK. So then you're going to come over to, this button should say install for you, and install everything that you've just selected. Once you do that, you should be able to launch you should be able to launch Visual Studio. And hopefully you get a screen like this. If you've got a screen like this, then that's fantastic. If not, because you're on Mac, then we have some other tools that we're going to need to go ahead and do. On Mac, what we're going to do is we're going to download Xcode. I have never used Xcode because I've only ever had Windows machines. But I'm sure you can get through here with your Apple ID and password. I actually don't have one. But download Xcode, and I'll have I have a link in the description for you to be able to go ahead and guide you through the installation process there because I'm actually not familiar with it. But that's going to be it for today. Tune in next week and we'll be getting started with writing our first program. All right, so I'll see you then. Everybody have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.